This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. Nancy Skipton joining us here, our wedding planner and owner at Simply Celebrations and Events. So excited to have her here to talk more about her company and, of course, the type of personalized weddings that she can create for you in the area of Seattle and so much more. So let me first and foremost have you say hello and introduce yourself to everyone. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much, Jill, for having me. I've been a wedding planner for almost 20 years. It'll be 20 years this October. And I offer the whole array of services, everything from day of coordination to full planning, and just really, really love it. And this is here in the beautiful Washington State.
Ah, wonderful. Well, before we dive into details about all that you do with Simply Celebrations, let's, if you don't mind, back up. And I would love to get to know you. I think it's important for your clients and obviously people to get to know you. So tell me a little bit about your background and walk us through how you ended up being such an amazing wedding planner. And, I've stalked your website, so I've gotten to see all these pictures and beautiful, beautiful weddings you put on. So it puts me in awe. I've never been married, so when I get to talk to someone like you, I'm like, whoa, because even though I'm older now, I'm like, I'm getting more ideas and ideas of what I want one day. So thank you for that.
Yes. So your question was to just share how I ended up getting
Yeah,
into wedding planning.
tell me about yourself. Yeah, let's walk us through a little bit of your
Yeah.
life story. Thank you.
Yes, well, I'm not one of the planners who grew up dreaming about being a wedding planner. It was sort of a midlife change of, well, not midlife, but earlier in life change of profession. And honestly, it was very much related to the fact that my children were getting to be like 10 and 12, and they were about to age out of daycare. And the particular job I was in at the time, where I did do a lot of planning. I worked for a natural foods marketing company. I really needed to be home, like with my children, at least during the summer. And it just wasn't something that was going to work at that company. So I ended up setting myself up to begin an event and wedding planning business. I did a couple courses online and then ended up pretty much just jumping off the cliff and leaving my full-time job and starting out my wedding business. So it
My
was to mainly
goodness.
be home with my kids. So I wasn't going to leave kids home alone all summer without supervision.
I understand. I get it. I have an 8 and 10-year-old right now myself, so I understand things change sometimes in your life. Absolutely. But
They
boy, oh
do.
boy, this is just an amazing career that you are in, and I'm honored that you're here. And if you don't mind, you've been doing this, is it for 19? You don't look old enough, but 19 years?
19 years. It'll be 20 years this October.
God bless. Amazing. So, who really would you say inspired you? And talk a little bit about the change of starting the own business and how that all came to fruition. And I'm sure there were some obstacles along the way.
Yes. Well, part of what made it easier, this is just the honest truth, a part of how it made it easier for me to switch careers was that I was married I have a very supportive husband, and he and I have been married 20 years. And I was able to do this because we had another paycheck coming into the house. It'd be very hard for somebody who's single to just jump off the cliff from their full-time job, leave it completely, and get into this. I have always just loved planning parties. I did it all through high school and college. I planned my own wedding, which is very kind of much an oxymoron because I encourage all couples to hire a planner, but I didn't hire one. But I learned through that day that it's a good idea to have one. I really enjoy helping other people. I love taking a whole bunch of details and putting them all together and making it into something really great. Think of like a puzzle, right? Putting all the little pieces of the puzzle, and at the end, you have this beautiful picture. I see weddings a little bit like that, in that there's all these little details, lots of things to remember. And after doing this for 19 years, I pretty much have it down how to put all those pieces together and make it a great day for the couple. So that was kind of how I ended up in this.
Amazing. And I want to kind of dive into all the things that you're doing besides, the whole wedding coordination to full planning. We're going to talk about your personalized planning. And of course, I've read that you specialize in outdoor nature-based weddings. So we got a lot to cover. So let's get started and talk a little bit about now the company and the type of work you're able to do as a wedding planner, hon. Thank you.
I love nature. I'm fairly adventurous. I'm not like somebody who dives out of planes or anything like that, but I really like to try new things. So early on in my career, I ended up getting an opportunity wedding planning at a local mountain ski resort who they do skiing during the winter months, but and during the summer, they started incorporating doing events and doing weddings. And I happened to get picked by a couple who was getting married there, did my first wedding at this mountain. And literally, you get married up on top of the mountain for your ceremony. And then everybody comes back down, and there's a lodge at the base. So that really like inspired me to be like, I love doing outdoor weddings. Although there are things like you have to deal with wind and rain and snow, possibly. I've done one wedding at that same venue in the snow. That was a challenge, but we did it. We made it happen. So it's just very interesting to me to do weddings that are outdoors. I love being outdoors. A lot of the couples who hire me are very adventurous, do hiking, want to be outdoors. And so it's just a great fit for me. I can do a hotel ballroom wedding. I can do those types of weddings, but the ones I really love are the ones that are outdoors in nature.
And let's talk about some of the venues where you're working specifically in your state and other states. Do you also do, venues abroad?
No, I literally am only in Western Washington. As much as it would be fun to, do a wedding in Italy or do a wedding in, let's say, Hawaii, that would be fun, wouldn't it? But I don't know the vendors there. And for me to really be good at my job, I know the vendors in this area, and it makes me a better planner for my couples because I only do weddings in this area. And initially, as I say, when I started my business, I had children who were young enough that they couldn't really be left home alone. So I didn't want to travel. And I decided that my wedding business would be just here in Western Washington.
Well, let me also ask what sets you apart? I mean, with your work, would you say? And I would love to hear about some of your clients and some of their stories and talk about some of the venues specifically of what's going on from A to Z that you do for these brides and why it's so important to have a planner. Let's talk about that too.
Yes. So I've worked at quite a few outdoor locations, venues. My favorite is Crystal Mountain Resort. I've done probably, I think at this point I've done like 36 weddings there. And this is the mountain wedding that I was so excited to work at the first time. So I love working there. There's a lot of logistics with an outdoor wedding. You have to plan for weather. And there, it also means a gondola ride to the top. So sometimes there are people who are a little concerned about riding a gondola to get up to the ceremony. So I've worked there. I've also worked at outdoor ranches, that type of thing, like barn weddings, which became very popular quite a few years ago. One of the other really exciting places that I worked was Thornwood Castle, which is literally a castle that was built and has been preserved in just below Tacoma here in Washington State. That was kind of exciting. One of the difficulties with that particular wedding venue, as wonderful as it is, it's a very tight timeline. So you arrive and then literally it's 8 hours, including setup, including breakdown, including the ceremony, including the reception and the cocktail hour. So it's a very compressed timeline. So there you need to really work at making sure that everything flows really, really smoothly. And And that's also the case when you work a wedding where there's people going up gondolas and coming back down a gondola in four different locations. So it was at the platform for the ceremony, then it was up in the Summit House, which is the restaurant at the top on the mountain, and then everybody came down and they did a they no they did the excuse me, they did the cocktail hour at the Summit House, came down and went to the Bull Wheel, which was their venues there. That's where they did their reception. And then they went down even to another location on the base where they did their entire dance party. So we had to move guests and plan a timeline that went from ceremony, getting everyone up there, to cocktail hour, down to the Bull Wheel, down to the other event. And it was a literally long, long, long day. Most of the wedding days, they're like 14-hour days. So it's not your usual 9 to 5 working day. It's a lot of extra hours to do that. So those are the kind of things. 14-hour days don't necessarily excite me, but that's what it takes to be a really, really good wedding planner, is to be there from the very beginning and to the very end. So that's part of what happens on the wedding day for me.
Oh my goodness. Well, I could imagine, gosh, all the work that goes into it. And specifically, let's tell people the role of a wedding planner, all the things that you can do, what you do bring to the table, and why it's helping brides and families everywhere.
Well, one of the great things about hiring a planner is that when you hire a planner, as the couple and the family, you're not doing all the work on the wedding day. You're not having to worry or have people come ask you questions about, oh, when is this happening? What are we going to do with this particular thing on the for the guest book or the wedding cake? We myself cover the all the details of the day. I'm the first vendor to arrive, so this way they don't have to worry about whether I'm going to be there on time. I'm always there on time. Then to do their setup, whether it's the DJ or the photographer or a videographer or the cake artist, if they're delivering the cake, I make sure that everything is set up and ready to go. And then I'm there throughout the day so that people come and ask me questions. They don't necessarily have to go to the couple to ask them questions. They've already given me all the details, and I can help them with planning through the entire day. Think about the flow of how the day flows. So they don't have to worry if things are going to happen on time. I'm giving them little reminders saying, hey, it's about time to cut the cake, or hey, it's time to do your first dance. Now it's time for your last dance. All of these different things. Time for cocktail hour. I also answer lots of questions for guests so that if they're like, well, where are the restrooms? Where's the guest book? When are we going to do this? I can take care of all those questions and just make sure that the couple can be hopefully stress-free and relaxed, and they can enjoy being with their guests and family and not be running around trying to get everything done, which I cover for them so they can have a nice day and really experience and enjoy their wedding day.
Well, also, perusing the website, I get to see, a lot of your work. And let me ask, some people though choose not to do the full wedding planning, but you do recommend, is it like at least a year in advance? And then let's talk about some of the other packages you have where you can be, is it week of, day of? How does that work?
Yes. So the common phrase in wedding planning for the smallest package is like day of coordination. I tend to use month of coordination so that it encourages people that it's not just I show up on the day and you hand me all the details. The planning usually for me, I like it to start at least 3 months before the wedding if it's month of. So then I have a chance to gather their details. For that program, the couple has pretty much hired all their wedding vendors. And then I help coordinate all of them. I make sure that the timeline is going to work. I talk to each of the vendors, make sure I know when they're arriving, when they're leaving, what their meal choices might be,
Yeah.
if it's not a buffet, if there's a plated meal. And then from there, it's I can also do what I call partial wedding planning, which includes month of or day of. But there, for partial planning, I'm helping the couple to find some of their vendors. So maybe they've already found their venue, they've already maybe found their caterer, bartender, a few of those things, a few of those vendors. And then I help them with finding the rest of the vendors that they need to complete all the vendors for their wedding day.
Got it.
And that for partial, that's maybe 6 to 8 months out, because if you're waiting till about 6 months to find some of your vendors, you might not find the vendors that you want if you wait that long. So I like to
Yeah.
see the people who do that come in 6 to 8 months, 10 months. Sometimes people hire me a year out for that as well. For full planning, I really like to see at least a year out, because I'm helping them find their venue. I'm helping them find their caterer. I'm literally walking side by side with them through all the vendor choices that they're going to make from beginning to end. And here in Washington State, we have a kind of short, condensed outdoor wedding season because we get rain. We do get a lot of rain here. That is true about this area. So weddings pretty much are June through maybe the end of October. Then it starts to get a little cool and we get into rain again. So I like to see people plan a year out if they're going to do an outdoor venue. If you're doing a wedding inside a ballroom or inside a building, not as much of a concern because you can do that year round here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those are the basics for my packages.
Well, also, let's talk a little bit more about, the work that you're doing in specifics, just to let you know. I personally, never been married, right? And I'm in awe of all the work that goes into this. And I still don't, to be honest with you, I don't know how people are planning their own weddings. God bless you that you did it yourself, but you obviously had an innate knack for this, right? To do. And then you
Yeah.
have to have all the relationships with the vendors, with even hotels, right? Because you got to book rooms and you got to help out with that. And oh, I could only imagine, what goes into this. And it's a lot of work and it's saving a lot of people time. So I'd also, like to, just mention, for example, here's just one of many, but you had a couple named Krista and Cody back in September of 22. They said our wedding went off
Yes.
without a hitch, all thanks to Nancy. Nancy managed all the vendors and set up. I was able to just relax and get ready. My biggest regret is not having Nancy plan my entire wedding. Nancy was available to help with all my questions, help me through the whole process. And I'm sure you have many more experiences to share about this type of work you're doing, right?
Yes. Yes. I mean, most of the what I call raves, the testimonials or that social proof that people are
The
looking
raves.
for,
Hmm.
particularly now, the Gen Z generation is looking more for that social proof because there's a little bit, so I hear, a little bit of a trust factor. And in general, people kind of think, oh, well, everybody in the wedding business charges way too much money. They upcharge just because it's a wedding day. Well, think flowers on Valentine's
Yeah.
Day, right? People have this impression of the wedding industry.
Yeah.
It's a little bit true. I try not to be that truth. I try to be the one who is reasonably priced. I have been so lucky in all the years I've done wedding planning to have some of the most wonderful couples to work with. And I miss them when the wedding is over. Like on that last day, I'm like starting to tear up because I'm like, I may not see them again. A lot of my wedding couples are destinations, so their destination is here. I'm not going somewhere else. They are coming here. And a lot of them are getting married at the Crystal Mountain Resort that we've mentioned.
Yes, yes. I
Um,
saw some of that in the reviews too. And I got to look that up. Where's
yes.
that specifically? If you don't mind, I just want to peek at it.
It's considered to be an Enumclaw. It's right on the edge of Mount Rainier National Park. Literally, the entrance to the park from this particular road is here, and you turn
Oh,
left and you go up to the Crystal Mountain. And when you're at the
wow.
top of Crystal Mountain, you are looking at Mount Rainier, and Mount Rainier is the third highest peak, or third highest mountain in the United States. Yeah, it's gorgeous. It's like 14,000 something feet. It's just beautiful. Imagine the backdrop for your ceremony on a beautiful day with very few clouds, having Mount Rainier as your backdrop.
Oh
It's
my goodness.
just,
I'm
it's just
looking now. It
amazing.
is beautiful.
I'm so lucky to be one of their preferred wedding vendors. I was put on their preferred list pretty early on when they started doing wedding planning and events, weddings and events there. And it's just, it's one of my favorites. I love working most venues. I've worked, as I say, hotels, I've worked restaurants, I've done barns. I did actually one wedding that was in Ashford, which was down near Mount Rainier, but it literally was in the woods. It was a wedding completely in the woods. And that was just so much fun.
Amazing.
All
Well,
outdoors, had to do a little with the bugs and mosquitoes, but that's what happens when you're outdoors here in Washington.
yeah, and just another couple, another rave. Danielle and Anthony say that wedding planning is stressful, but people that work with Nancy can't say the same. You made planning their wedding so much fun, put us in touch with top-notch vendors, and they hired you for the full service, the wedding coordination, and she was worth every penny. Our day went off
Yeah.
without a hitch, or at least there were no issues that brought to my attention, probably because Nancy handled them all. If you want a dependable professional that can handle the details and leave you free to enjoy your wedding day, then you want Nancy. And again, that was another one at Crystal Mountain Resort. But let me ask you this, ready? So I'm sure chaos sometimes happens behind the scenes. Is there anything you want to share? Is there a time where like, I don't know, like the dishes broke or someone didn't show up and how do you handle that? Because you probably don't even let the bride and groom know and they're not even aware. And that saves so much headache, right?
Yes. So, I mean, I've been fairly lucky that usually, like, if you have a plan and you have a backup plan and you know what you're doing, which after 19 years, I would certainly hope that I do. I think that I do. It's really important to like kind of know what you can fix and what you can't. Like if somebody's bouquet is a little bit broken in my what I call my emergency wedding day kit, I have floral tape, I have floral wire, I have bows. I mean, I have like ribbon of a couple different colors.
Yeah.
So I could rewire something in a bouquet. The thing that I can, and I can, I've sewn up dresses. I've removed stains from dresses. I've had band-aids for bridesmaids who didn't wear their shoes a little bit before they did the wedding day and had a huge blister. So I come prepared with all those things in my wedding day kit, all kinds of scissors, threads, everything. So I've fixed those types of things. The thing I cannot fix is a cake. And I
Yeah.
did have one wedding that was it was a hotel sort of resort venue in I think it's in Tukwila
Okay.
here. And the cake arrived and the driver the cake literally went completely sideways, like
Wow.
completely sideways.
Oh my goodness.
It was and this is a three-tier cake, right? So I first of all gave the driver quite a talking to, and I talked to the catering team, and they didn't have frosting, but they had lots of whipped cream, so they whipped cream and they made the cake look well. Thank goodness that the catering team could do this because I can't fix that kind of a problem with the cake. I can fix a little tiny thing. I can put flowers in if needed to cover up if something kind of happened to the cake. But the catering team at Cedarbrook really took care of that cake, and of course I had to go tell the couple that wasn't fun. But when you are the person who is helping run the day, you have to be responsible. You have to be professional. Really need to find a solution and not leave it for the couple. It's to relieve stress so the couple doesn't have to know these things. And then sometimes little things will happen that I don't tell the couple because there's no reason. And it's
Yeah.
not to like be dishonest or not tell them, but why tell them and like get them upset on their day? If I can fix it without them knowing whatever happened and it's not necessary for them to know, then I keep that to myself. If they ask me later if anything happened, I'd be happy to share with them and be very honest and truthful. But if I can prevent them from having to deal with any kind of disaster, that's my job to do that as a planner.
Got it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here, getting to know you. And what would how did you want to kind of leave off today for your audience about why they should reach out to you?
I have a lot of experience, and I think that really helps. I mean, you don't have to be a planner. I've taken classes, I've taken business classes, so I know how to run my business. Went through somewhat of a certification program through Association of Bridal Consultants. So I have a lot of experience from a lot of training. I do continuous educational training in the wedding industry. I belong to several groups. And I think if you're planning a wedding in Western Washington and you just don't want to do it by yourself, and I recommend you don't, one of the best things you can do, and as some of my clients have said, it's worth every penny to hire a planner. If you're somebody who's a busy professional and you don't have the time to do the planning, but you want to have a say in things, you just don't want to do all the legwork, then I'm probably the planner for you.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you. How do we contact you?
You can contact me via email, nancy@simplyscelebrations.com. If you go to my website, which is simplyscelebrations.com, there's a contact form on there. You can use that as well. I always offer a 1-hour consultation for free if somebody's interested in talking with me, checking out what I can do, and seeing if we're a really good fit to work together. And I
Perfect.
offer that for every couple that's interested.
Great. Thank you so much. Pleasure having you here and looking forward to our next conversation. And I hope we get to chat. Are we back on next week or?
Right now, this is all I have
Oh,
scheduled.
okay. Okay. No
But I
problem.
really appreciate you
Thank you
guiding
so
me
much.
through this.
It was great. So easy to talk to. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much,
All
Jill.
right. Well, hopefully we'll connect again
Okay.
soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.